Well, Ben Oluku joins us now to look at the commotion at the National Assembly. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Good morning.
And what's your reading of what transpired on that day?
Well, I think it just goes to show where we are today in Nigeria. At least what we know for a fact now is that the IG, Inspector General of Police, was aware of the fracas and was apparently, he authorized the deployment of the policemen to that scene. We don't need to be told that there's no way the Inspector General of Police could have done that without the imprimatur or without the knowledge of the presidency.
No, why do you say so? I think we keep putting things on the table, on the desk of the president. We've heard of words like overzealousness, and we've also seen the reason the police gave that they expected, or they had security report that, well, they had a motley crowd, people who were not members of the assembly coming into the assembly complex.
Well, if he did not, let me even assume for a minute that the Inspector General of Police did not inform the president before they deployed the number of troops they did, barricaded the National Assembly, then there's something wrong there. Because the legislature, the National Assembly, is the highest legislative body in the land, just like the Supreme Court is, just like the Villa is. You would expect if the police were going to seal up the Supreme Court premises, for instance, that the Inspector General of Police, being an appointee of the president, working under the president, must inform him. Even out of courtesy.
It doesn't really follow.
Even out of courtesy. Now, even if, let's even assume for a minute that the president did not authorize it, he was not aware of it. And this is the one problem I've had with this administration.
No, we won't assume on that. We'll just say, because there's not been any case of knowledge of the president giving that order.
Okay.
So we can't even put some assumption on all of that. So let's look at the fact of the matter that policemen were there and assembly members were barred from coming in. And the reason the police gave was that there were motley crowd in the assembly, and motley means, well, crowd not, different from the assembly people. And they said the members broke the police cordon. So what's your thought of, these reasons and comments from the assembly members as well as the police?
What I'm saying essentially is I don't buy the story. That's what they put out, right? I, as an individual, somebody that follows these events, I don't buy it. Because if you take, for instance, and they agree, I think everybody agrees on this, certain members will refuse access into the complex. It's not very difficult to identify who the legislators are. If you're going in to go and seal the National Assembly, you should allow the members of the National Assembly to go in.
How do you recognize them without asking for identification? Because they don't put on uniforms, do they?
No, they don't. But before you deploy, you should have a list with photographs of all the members. In any case, I can tell you for a fact that the police have a permanent presence in the National Assembly. They in fact have what they call an intelligence officer assigned to the National Assembly. What's his job? He must know at least the key officers, if nobody else. But in any case, before you deploy, if you know what you're doing, you should make some kind of arrangement to ensure that you do not disrupt, the program for the day in the National Assembly. How do you do that? Get a list of all the members, if you don't already have it, and I know they do, and as soon as they come in, you identify them, and they go in. There shouldn't be any problem with that. And anybody that's not on that list doesn't go in. That is why I don't accept the explanation. They clearly, before an honorable member will climb the fence or scale the gate, it's because he or she has been prevented from going in normally.
But hold on, the police is a constituted authority, just like the National Assembly is a constituted authority on its own.
Yes.
Now, if the members of the National Assembly come to find out that they're not allowed access, do they need to scale the fence?
Now, I've especially on social media, I've heard a lot of talk about, comments about the illegality of scaling the fence. I honestly thought about it. I can't even see the illegality. I can tell you that. It's not proper. It's not nice. But, for instance, what are you going to charge them with? If you say something is illegal, you're going to charge them for something. Is it trespassing? Trespassing presupposes that you don't have a right to be there in the first place. If
improper conduct, how about that?
Yeah, that is a different story now, but it's not illegal. If something is improper, it doesn't make it illegal. It means you probably didn't have to do it. It doesn't look nice. But it's not illegal. If for some reason your security, because as it were, the policemen are working for the safety of the National Assembly members, for all intents and purposes.
But it doesn't look nice. I think it's a rather mild way of putting what we saw. Because, I mean, those visuals made international headlines.
I agree.
And it wasn't a question of whether or not it looked nice. It was that Nigerian lawmakers, were saying climbing over the fence.
I agree.
What sort of image did that put out about Nigeria?
It's not good, but it doesn't make it illegal, because people are saying, and this is the point I'm making. I'm not saying it looked very good. I'd love to see my legislator scaling the fence. But is it illegal? That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to highlight here. Because I've heard a lot of, talk about illegality of that action. I'm just trying to say that, in my opinion, and I'm not an attorney, but, I'm an educated man. I don't see what is illegal about that. Now, I can even take it a step further, and probably this may get controversial, if you look at it from the way we look at things in this country. I think in certain situations, you need to checkmate brazen illegality with an equal and opposing illegality. Having said, for instance, we have a situation in this country where, in a state, 7 legislators impeached or alleged or attempted to impeach the Speaker of a House of 25 members.
Are you a member of the opposition? It's just important to get this clear.
And interestingly, I'm not.
Are you a member of any political party?
PDP.
But you don't see things from their side?
I really, I'm a Nigerian, first of all. That is the first thing. I'm a Nigerian. What that means is, I don't care if you are my brother, you are my party chairman, you are whatever it is. If you do something that doesn't make sense, that is wrong, I should be able to point it out to you, because I want you to do better. On my blog, I'm a blogger, on my blog, I state it, clearly, that I'm an avid supporter of Jonathan. I'm sympathetic to him, but I want him to succeed. If I want him to succeed, then I should be able to point out, the mistakes he's making so that he can correct them. I'm not going to sit down and, I think
moving ahead, in closing this, what do you think should be the way forward, since you're someone who would want to look at it holistically and objectively? What should be the way forward in getting out of this logjam?
First of all, I think Jonathan, the president, needs to hold people more accountable. If, like I was trying to say earlier, he did not authorize this action, what I would expect him to do is immediately call the IG. Summon him, that's the word they will use.
The vice president summoned him. The president wasn't around then, so the vice president did. Okay,
what was the outcome of that? And that is where his spokesman, Okupe, I think that's his name, Doyin Okupe, mishandled it. He came out without telling us what, the IG said, what the discussion was with the VP, came out to support the policemen. I would think that you summon the IG, ask him questions that you put out there for people to understand that you are interested in this issue and you're not happy with what you saw, and let the IG make a report on that issue, and you make it public. So that's the first thing. You need to be able to, for me to believe, to be sure that the president had no hand in it, I needed to see, or the presidency, let me not say the president, I needed to see that kind of reaction, not somebody, the spokesman, coming out to say, oh, well, they're just doing their job. And even the IG himself, you know, who is clearly partisan, comes out to say he does not recognize Tambuwal as the Speaker of the House on TV. So why would I believe what the IG says? If he comes out to say he does not recognize it, it's not a court of law, it's not a judge, it's not, where did he get that from?
Well, I think, anyway, we'll keep talking about this, but ultimately the judiciary will give final answers to all of these questions we all have been asking. This is where we say thank you so very much for being such a good company. Ben Oluku, he's a public affairs analyst, and he just told you he's also a blogger and a member of the PDP. Sorry, Stella takes a moment, and when we return, we'll take a look at a couple of mails from you before we leave. Now let's do a quick one with the mails. We have this from by Taye Adekaye. Well, he has pictures of yams, and he had to attach pictures here. I think the government is not doing enough in the area of agriculture. Let the governor leave Makodi and go to the interior to achieve this. He can tax agricultural produce. The yams in the attached pictures are 6 pieces, not fingers now, and they cost about 1,600 naira. That is very, very cheap. He said no tax in the open market in Benue State.
Well, this one's from Jude Nwazunku, and he says it's unfortunate that most of our governors don't have any thinking of their own. That's Jude Nwazunku talking. This is happening because they, the states, will always get their allocation from the federal government. Benue State has just swallowed their pride to speak out. So many other states will publicly declare their inability to pay salaries. And he says, food basket of the nation. Benue State does not deserve this slogan. In fact, no state deserves its slogan if she cannot produce her slogan as well as sell it to other states or export out of the country.
So when your slogan is like is something as vague, well, I don't know if that's as vague, but if it's like, I think Delta State, for instance, used to be the big heart. What, you're supposed to sell love to your neighbors?
You're supposed to be accommodating.
And if they can accommodate the president coming to do groundbreaking.
I think they're changing, they're changing that now to the finger of God. I don't know if it's been passed by the legislature, but the doctor governor says a big heart is a sick heart. But, you know, so they should change that to something else. I think I'm trying to see if we can find a tweet or two now. Somebody is agreeing with last guest.
I understand it's Friday, Mark, but you
Yes.
really can't see what you really can't see what you should be saying. I know.
I'm really in thank God it's Friday mood, and I really just want to say goodbye and see you next week. That's what I really want to say. So, Lyman, it's over to you.
Well, many thanks for being such a nice company, and I'm kicking myself into Marquez mood. It's Friday, and for those outside the country, well, it's Black Friday. Prices will be cut, and discounts given. All other things will fall into place after Thanksgiving. Well, we'll see you again next week.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Have a great one too. I'm Maokwe Ubu.